It's a Sunday afternoon, and I felt like being outside, so I took a walk from my house up in to the foothills of South Mountain. South Mountain Park is one of the largest municipal parks in the country. If you asked what was the largest municipal park, a lot of people would probably mention Central Park in New York City. But South Mountain, at 16,000 acres, is 19 times larger than Central Park in New York. And these beautiful flowers and gardens are all natural. Some years the flowers are better than others, and this is far from our best, but it's still a sight to see, along with the saguaro cactus, barrel cactus, choyas, prickly pear, hedgehog cactus, and others. So let's take a little journey. South Mountain Park actually covers 3 mountain ranges, and I am located at the far west end. The flower density varies throughout the park. Some areas offer spectacular views of downtown. Others, heavy plants such as saguaros. And in this area, lots of flowers. But I start my hike from my house along an irrigation ditch, and part of the area, such as seen here, is actually outside the park boundaries. It's actually an area next to some farmland, and, well, some of the ground has been disturbed. It makes perfect conditions for this brittle bush. One of the popular flowers that can be found throughout the mountain. But I walk past, in this case, fields of alfalfa, and right next to it are the native desert flowers. The 202 interstate goes just to the west of this mountain peak, and just to the left or the north of this peak is the community of Levine. You see some of the farmlands there. And off to the right of this peak would be the community of Ahwatukee. You'll notice that currently most of the flowers are in the lowlands, and as you go up higher elevation,
Bird's nest.
There's no more flowers. And there's one of the desert birds that have made a nest in
Spectacular out here.
cholla cactus,
All the wildflowers.
saguaro cactus. See all the rocks, flowers, creosote bushes. And there's the 202 looking just to the west. Hedgehog cactus. Just spectacular everywhere you walk. The trail will take you all the way around the mountain peak. But the views aren't always spectacular. Oftentimes you'll see the view of the freeway, the 202, that cuts right through South Mountain. I stayed mainly on the north side to see views of the farmland, and then also views of my home and the little community there. As I walk out from my home, some of this land has already been disturbed. That's next to the fields. It's been plowed, but some of it actually makes perfect conditions for the wildflowers to grow. And they're actually thicker in some of these areas than they are when you get into the park boundary. You may have noticed that I have 2 videos posted of this same hike. And that's because on YouTube, they have YouTube Shorts. I think they're trying to compete with TikTok. And I wondered, how do you do the little short videos? I like to watch my videos at home on my TV, so I do them in a horizontal format. But for YouTube Shorts, they have to be in a vertical format. So it was just an experiment, and I didn't mean for it to be posted. But unfortunately, me with my subpar skills, you'll see here the mounds of dirt, actually beehives and such out there. But I didn't mean for it to be posted, but somehow I set it to be not public, but then it posted at midnight. And when I woke up in the morning, it already had 60 some views, which is probably more views than this video will get. So I just left it up. But if you want a more detailed view of the hike, you're getting it from here. You'll see where I'm at. Some of this ground has been graded. There's mounds of dirt, but it's still a cool part of the walk. This will show you as you get up to the mountain, some beautiful brittle bush and a few flowers through there, but overall, not quite
Here's the trail I'm on.
as much.
See Estrellas in the distance.
This is hiking around the west side of the mountain to the south side of the mountain. And that noise you hear is the 202 freeway. And right around the corner there, you can see one of the casinos. This is another beautiful cactus growing right in the middle of the rock. But I didn't go too far down the south side before I decided to turn around and head back and hike around the north side. You can see the farmlands. There were a few of the purple flowers, but not many. The one negative thing about this hike is the noise from the nearby freeway, and I was hoping by being more on the north side that I'd avoid the noise coming from the freeway. That orange tile roof is my home, so it's kind of cool to hike along and look down from the mountain at some of the homes and some of my neighbors. This is what I believe is an Arizona poppy. I think earlier I showed you one of the all orange poppies, which I believe is a California poppy. But I don't really know my flowers, so I could be totally mistaken. But they're part of the wildflowers, and in some areas they were quite dense. Unfortunately, they were off trail, and I wasn't able to get to those areas to take pictures. But there were enough of them at spots near the trail that you'll get a sense of them at least. One of the nice things about this trail is that even though it's a Sunday afternoon, perfect weather, there was no one else out walking the trail. And I mentioned walking the trail because I did pass one person that was on a bicycle and several of my neighbors that were out riding horseback.
Mahatuk Perimeter Trail. Stay on trail. See the brittle bush and the community of Levine. All the farmland and the new freeway 202.
I like taking videos of this area because there's already new zoning that will develop most of that farmland that's there. So I'll have it documented what it looks like currently.
This is looking into the sun, so it definitely changes the appearance. And then come around. The desert's alive. Probably can't see down there, but it's all full of yellow flowers. And then this is the community Lavine, looking to downtown Phoenix, peeking through the mountains, and I'm sure you can't see from the phone, and around to the farmland.
There's my house, and all this land you see through there up to the edge of the mountain will probably be developed. There's a close-up of my house. You see the nest in that saguaro? Must be a hawk's nest, maybe even an eagle. Some of the poppies just blowing in the wind. Okay, now I know why people like the short videos. This is probably going on a little long, and I wasn't going to get philosophical or start rambling, but what the heck. If you enjoy the picture of these poppies, I'll tell you the story. Went out to dinner a couple nights ago with a group of friends, and some of them I hadn't seen for a while, and one of them asked me, "So who you with now?" And I said, "Well, T-Mobile." And they're like, no, I meant like girlfriend. I said, it's been so long since I've gone on a date. I haven't dated since COVID. So I just naturally assumed they meant who was my cell phone service with. At any rate, I do all these videos on my Samsung, and someone asked me why I use Samsung, and I've got a story for that too. Why I use Android and not an iPhone. And this is it. When I go to pickleball, we carpool it, probably because we're all so cheap, but it gives us a chance to socialize and talk as we drive. And we used to always play basketball together, and one time when we were playing basketball, something came up about, you telegraphed that pass. And I told the story of, I don't know, it's probably 30 years ago now, but a buddy and I, when we were playing basketball, someone said that, and he goes, "No, you mean you faxed it. That's faster than a telegraph." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what would they say now? You couldn't use either of those. And I said this out loud to my friends there. I said, what will be obsolete next? And the guy has an iPhone, and Siri answered and goes, "People." So ever since that, I don't trust an iPhone. So that's, long story short, why I've got an Android. And as you can see, it seems to work as I do these little videos. I guess I should get back to telling you more about South Mountain Park. I could mention, the over 50 miles of trails. And even though I've done multiple videos on South Mountain, I've hardly covered a fraction of it. And if you wonder where all the wildflowers are, they're here and there in different spots. So just because you know South Mountain doesn't mean you'll ever find them or see them. I could talk about Scorpion Gulch, or the drive-in to the lookout at Dobbins Point, where you're at the peak of the mountain looking over the city. Or some of the I don't know, I guess amenities around South Mountain Park. You can go to the stables and rent horses and go horseback riding. There's the Mystery Castle. So there's lots of things to do around South Mountain Park. But I'm just out for a Sunday stroll. And like I say, I didn't run into any other hikers, but I did run across my neighbors here out horseback riding.
Guess I need to get off the trail.
Had to get off the trail so they could go by, as I did when the bicyclist came through. There are a number of different entry points into South Mountain Park, and those that are gated are open from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you want to go up and see the night lights in the summer, got to get there before 7 p.m. And then you can still get out after 7 p.m., but you can't go in.
Yeah, walking the trail. You can see there's yellow flowers all around it. Occasionally you have the California poppies, but mostly it's these guys. There's the trail I've been walking down. Scan over here, Hideaway Ranch, my place behind that, someone's donkey, and then downtown Phoenix, and back to the trail, and all the wildflowers.
South Mountain boasts over 150 different animal species. And for the reptile people, we know that the carrot-tailed chuckawalla is found here. And while I didn't see any out on this hike today, I've covered them in other videos. And for those that are into rattlesnakes, the speckled rattlesnake here is, well, it's its own unique color phase. I've had a few of them come down into my yard over the years I've lived there, but not many. I just relocate them back into the desert. You can see a lot of these areas will be developed. Some people wonder why I get so philosophical on some of these silly videos that I do, and I'm reminded of the story of the scorpion and the frog. If you don't know it, I'll try to summarize it for you. Basically, there's a scorpion and a frog at a river, and the scorpion asks the frog if it will carry him on his back across the river, because the scorpion, if it tried to swim, it would drown. And of course, the frog is hesitant because if the scorpion stings the frog, it'll kill the frog. And the scorpion replies to the frog, says, well, I won't do that, because if I sting you in the middle of the river, we'll both die. And so the frog, considering the scorpion's argument, and that it wouldn't be stupid enough to kill them both, says, okay, I'll give you a ride on my back across the river. Midway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog anyway. And of course, they both die. And as the frog is dying, he asks the scorpion, why did you sting me, dooming us both to death? And the scorpion replies, I couldn't resist the urge. It's my nature. So I guess that's my answer.
Okay.
It's in my nature. Question things, wonder why things are, and share stories. Because I know my daughter, some of my grandkids listen to these on occasion, and maybe they'll learn something from them. At least that's my excuse. The real reason I get rambling on is because I take so many pictures and videos, and I'm curious what they'll look like on TV. They've just got to include everything. What if I would have missed this? It might be something cool. So the videos get a little long, but gives me a chance to look back and appreciate some of these trails that I've hiked and things that I've done. People that know me know that one of my sayings that I like to quote is always, "Time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time." So, if I enjoy the hikes, it's not wasted time.
Here's a sad sight to see. That's the world. It's come down.
If I enjoy watching the video, it's not wasted time. But yep, all my ramblings are just filler so I can put in all the pictures and videos that I took. Yeah, if I don't fill the space philosophizing, I pretty much just have to tell Kelly jokes. For example, did I tell you when we were in Mexico and we were snorkeling and stuff, I said to Kelly, "Hey, did you know I've got a pen that will write underwater?" And Kelly's reply, "Will it write other words too?" So, at any rate, this is my mountain, back on Estrella Drive, hiking back home. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.